Hearty welcome to my presentation. Myself, Dr. Reshmi S, working as Assistant Professor of English in MES Asmabi College, Kodungalur, Thrissur, Kerala. And I take this opportunity to thank the organizers of the International Conference on Science Fiction Studies and the Department of English, GLA University, Mathura, for providing me with a slot for this pre-recorded video presentation. And the title of my paper is Feminist Images of the Future in the Selected Writings of Women Sci-Fi Authors. The paper looks in detail the representation of women writers in the realm of science fiction and the diverse strategies and images that they apply while creating fictional women characters who stand in opposition to the dark reality. At the outset, I would like to bring up the various key topics I'm planning to incorporate in the course of presentation, and they provide a framework to the paper. First is the introduction to the science fiction. Next comes the definition and background of science fiction. Then emergence of women science fiction. Then women sci-fi writers, strategies as tools of liberation and emancipation, scope and significance of women science fiction, challenges faced by women sci-fi writers, and finally conclusion. This slide introduces science fiction, contrary origins and theorization. The prominence of science fiction has increased nowadays, and it has become a literary phenomena that has been accepted all over the cultures over the years as a platform to represent, subvert, and challenge the established models of reality, history, and identity. The general image of science fiction is associated with strange machines, technological devices, strange creatures, monsters, and aliens in outer space. Science fiction is a polemical and social terrain, encapsulating multiple perspectives pertaining to social variables like gender, race, class, sexuality, technology that constitutes our society. Brian Baker, the author, has defined science fiction as experiencing crisis of legitimation due to its low aesthetic experience. But in the year 1998, Thomas Disch, the novelist, declared science fiction has come to permeate our culture in ways both trivial or profound, obvious or insidious. The evolution of science fiction blurs the boundaries between canonical literatures and mass literatures. It uses a novum or a new thing as a device to present the difference or otherness from the world of reality. Science fiction has been defined by various writers from their own perspectives. Let us look into the detail about the varied forms of definitions. The Oxford English Dictionary has defined science fiction as an imaginative fiction based on postulated scientific discoveries or spectacular environmental changes, frequently set in the future or on other planets and involving space or time travel. In the words of the British science fiction writer Brian Aldiss, science fiction is a search for the definition of man and his status in the universe. For Ursula Le Guin, the author, science fiction is a modern myth. According to Frederick Jameson, science fiction is a representation of the future. And for Robert Scholes and Eric Rabkin, it is a modern conscience. That science fiction is closely related with society, history, identity, and is fundamental to human existence. It is essential to have a look at the historical evolution and progress of science fiction. The British and American science fiction interrogated norms of patriarchal society, subverted the claims of the establishment to articulate the concerns of underprivileged history. Adam Roberts delineated three types of science fiction. Firstly, space travel, science fiction, which deals with the journey to the other planet. Second is the time travel science fiction, which deals with both past and future. And thirdly, technology-oriented science fiction. Then science fiction also extends to hard science, magazine-era science fiction, new wave, and cyberpunk science fiction. By 1990, science fiction became predominantly a means to redefine postmodern and post-colonial world of hybridity and in-betweenness that marks the liminal existence of man in the globalized world. The importance and contribution of women's science fiction is brought out here. Throughout the history, science fiction has developed new concepts about the physical universe as well as new images of society. It has shaped and reflected changing conceptions of the roles available for women in the real world. Science has become an important medium of communication for new ideas and values concerning sex roles and for advocating social change from a feminist perspective. Between 1960s and 1970s, women writers popularized the new mode of science fiction. The Star Trek series became popular with women on account of their emphasis in characters and situations conceived in human and social interaction rather than the use of novel machines and gadgets. These series dealt with the encounter with aliens on other planets. The difference or otherness of aliens subconsciously appealed to the female audience because in the patriarchal world of the male society, they themselves have experienced this alienness or otherness. Science fiction is the best possible mode for women writers to subvert and question the reality in the mainstream literature. This slide introduces the world of women sci-fi writers. Among the sci-fi writers, there are female and feminist fiction writers. The fiction of Marion Zimmer Bradley, Andre Norton, and Ursula Le Guin should be characterized as female fiction because they were writing in the male tradition of science fiction. They never challenged the masculinist ideas and have no notable female characters. Whereas feminist science fiction represents alternative realities. They question the existing cultural and social values, give women the role of a perceiver than perceived, make them active agents of change, and question the negative myths established by the patriarchal society to subjugate women. The notable writers include Joanna Russ, Octavia Butler, Judy Scott, Sherry Tepper, among others. The writers make use of different strategies to create women characters. The first one is the utopian feminist science fiction. The concept of cognitive estrangement binds together utopian literature and science fiction. Darko Subin's description of utopian genre and science fiction are concerned with the larger collective social and cultural machinery, socio-political institutions, norms and relationships rather than individual characters or character psychology. Prominent women writers like Joanna Russ, Marge Piergy, and Octavia Butler created utopian society. Russ book, The Female Man is a satire on patriarchy, and utopian possibility presents the world of diversities and differences. She contrasts free and self-independent women of the real world with the exploited, oppressed womanhood of the real world. Octavia Butler's Xenogenesis series uses genetic engineering as a novum. The female protagonist in her fiction is abducted by aliens. Ursula Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness presents an utopian world where man-woman distinction is taken away, opposing it to the real world where women are exploited as different in the patriarchal society. Alice Sheldon's work, Women Don't See, presents women as other or alien in the patriarchal male society. Mercy Piergy's Women on the Edge of Time presents a world without gender distinction. Feminist science fiction employs revenge as another motif against man, as we could see in Joanna Russ's The Female Man. Here, women transform to dangerous animal to punish oppressive male, inversion of patriarchal society, and even the treatment of males as slaves with contempt and violence. Aliens are thus used as an effective means to express women's experience in this world. Alien community presented in science fiction is either sexless or women only. Judith Scott's Passing for Women makes the alien protagonist go through a variety of sex experiences. Next comes Novum. The feminist writers use variety of nova to illustrate their themes and present the aspects of alterity or otherness. One such novum is the parallel society in the outer space, as we could easily see in Sherry Tepper's Grass. Cyborg has become a feminist icon in science fiction. The present era rely on cyborg so much that the boundary between science fiction and reality is blurred. Transmogrification involves changing women to dangerous and powerful creatures. Let us briefly look into the scope of science fiction. Feminist science fiction asks questions of epistemology because those questions are central to making claims of subjectivity and identity. Women marginalized by science and philosophy have made significant contributions to reconsiderations and reformulations of the epistemological models of the world and individuals into it. Science fiction has transnational significance, exploring the contours of imagination and forges a path for the progress of third world societies. Women sci-fi writers are conscious of the interaction between science and society, science and technology, and its impact on human beings. Issues such as stem cell research, cloning in biology, research into nuclear devices, and spying capability of remote sensing satellites raised moral social questions. Women sci-fi writers also face the cultural barriers of masculinistic science, the convention of the woman as alien, and dominance of male narrators in the genre. And let me sum up. The distinguished genre of science fiction has transnational significance, uniting the entire world, exploring the contours of imagination, and forges a path for the progress of third world societies in general and the progress of minority groups, women, subaltern, oppressed, and downtrodden. Women sci-fi writers move from margin to center by resisting the male narrator with multiple narrations. Space of dominance and violence in male sci-fi is replaced by women sci-fi writers with space for harmony, coordination, and humanness. Women sci-fi writers respond to the vital contemporary issues, reach larger audience of the real world women, and subverts the feminine archetypes. Let me wind up with a quote by Ursula Le Guin. In science fiction, all connections are possible, all alternatives are thinkable. Thank you.